Low-key, book reviews are an author's time to flex. That's when you hit up your friends and you're like, hey yo, the book's on the way, boost me, right? And this list of book reviews does just that. The first two names of 6 on the cover, the front and back cover of this book, are the only 2 co-signers you need when it comes to mentality and just a winner's mindset. Those 2 people are Kobe Bryant, rest his soul, and Michael Jordan. Both Kobe and Michael hired the author of this book to help them with their game. And we all know how that turned out. Hi guys, it's your girl Savvy C. Welcome to another episode of Cover to Cover, a low-key video series where we talk about all things books. And today I'm talking about Tim S. Grover's Relentless, From Good to Great to Unstoppable. Grover was born in London and is of Indian heritage, but his family moved to Chicago when he was 4 years old, and he really planted his roots there and still resides there today. He played basketball for the University of Illinois, Chicago, and during his basketball career there, he came in, of course, as a lot of players do, with NBA aspirations or just playing professional, but he had a myriad of orthopedic injuries. And having, name a body part, he injured it or sprained it somehow. And having those constant injuries and just being, as an athlete, your body's your tool, and losing that tool can really put a mental taxing on you. And him going through that time and time again, he now uses it as a basis for his work. And so he started his company Attack Athletics in 1989 in West Chicago, and has worked with several athletes, Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan being among that wide list of athletes, where he really just has revolutionized the meaning of trainer and the meaning of rehabilitation. He will take a player and will push him to his absolute limits and then keep going. He thinks once you think you're at, your max, he finds a different depth you can go to and helps you in your career and just pursue excellence. And so he just breaks that down in that book of how you can go from being good to being great to being unstoppable and being just excellent and an icon and a true one of one. This book is just 232 pages, and like I just said, he really just breaks down how one can become unstoppable. And so he breaks it down by saying how there's 3 types of people in an arena, and he focuses on sports primarily, but your arena could be a business boardroom, in school, in your family life, whatever. Those 3 people are the cooler, which is the good, the closer, which is great, and then the cleaner, which are the ones who are unstoppable. And so your coolers are those that will come to work and will do exactly what is asked of them, nothing more, nothing less. So let's say you're like, hey, can you hang up this picture frame for me? They'll hang up the picture frame for you, go to lunch, come back, maybe check on the picture frame, and then clock out, right? Nothing more, nothing less. Then you'll have your closer. The closer will come in, hang up the picture frame, but then might do a little something special if they see the manager come by. And they just do that extra special thing, not for themselves, but for external validation to just get the praise, right? Then there's the cleaner. The cleaner comes in, not only is going to do what is asked of them, they're going to go above and beyond and do it for themselves. And that's the main difference. And he really goes into depth about that, about how there's a lot of closers in the world, but not a lot of cleaners, because there's that want and need for external validation. And the main difference between a closer and a cleaner is the internal pressure and the internal validation. So a cleaner, so the ones like Kobe Bryant's, the Dwyane Wade's, the Michael Jordan's, and just other people of great excellence, other icons, other one-of-one people, have this internal fire, this internal ability, this internal switch that they can turn on and just really tap into to perform at just amazing, consistent, high-performing levels. And as a trainer, Grover brings that out of them and helps just further perfect that. Even if they seem, it's like, how can Jordan get better, how can Kobe get better, he finds ways for them to get better and to improve. he has this thing in the beginning of the book called the Relentless 13, and it's just 13 just ideas, 13 things that are key to being a cleaner, and they are, rather than being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, going all the way down to 13, they're all labeled number 1 because in Grover's mind and how he just based off his philosophy as a trainer, they're all equally important, and those are the chapter structures. So the chapters are titled number 1, when you're a cleaner, ... the point being, and then as before the chapter starts, it's a little blurb of saying a cooler does this, a closer does that, and a cleaner does this, and then the chapter further illuminates that overall ideology. I really enjoyed this book. I give it 4 stars. I loved how Grover just approaches this idea of excellence and how, you know, you can get to the top and you can work so hard to get to the top, but sustaining that topness, sustaining that excellence, outperforming yourself time and time again is what really cements your legacy, really cements your excellence. And how too, you know, you don't have to be a Michael Jordan, be a Kobe Bryant, be Elon Musk, be a Jeff Bezos, whatever, to do that. Every one of us has that in us, and we just have to tap in and find it, and he really breaks that down. The core things of being a cleaner, which he goes into depth about in this book, are just 1, you have to not have, you can't think about it. So he just has this idea of just don't think, right? It reminds me a lot of Malcolm Gladwell's book Blink, where it's just like you just make a decision in a blink of an eye. You don't think about it, because when you think about it, then it'll just compound to everything else going on, and then you'll be overwhelmed. So you just do it, don't think about it. Second, he talks about how you need to just have that internal fire, that no one else can win it for you but you. You just have to, and you know, you can't teach that, you can't force that, you can't buy that, you can't inherit that, you just have to have that for yourself. And then lastly, kind of going off that second point, it's just being in the zone. You're just blinders in the zone, and he mentions in the book how people have different triggers of how to turn that zone in, or how to, you know, tap, tap, tap in to that zone, but we all have it in us. We just have to find it and just really use that when it comes to our area and our arena, rather, of whatever we're competing in. Again, I really love this book. I recommend it to those who are, 1, just kind of seeking a breakthrough, or kind of maybe need a wake-up call when it comes to self-motivating and wondering if what you're doing is working, if it's enough. You know, I can speak, I mean, I'm here by myself speaking to a camera, right? And it's just like some days I'm just like, is this doing anything? Is this worthwhile? But this is a great book of like reminding me it is, and you know, put in the hours, you put in the work, and if you just have that in you to keep going, then it's gonna end up in results. And I'd also recommend this to current and former athletes, or just those who are athletically minded. In the beginning, it was kind of funny. He was saying, like, this isn't a basketball book, but it kind of is a basketball book, because he himself is a basketball player, works with majority of athletes, most of those being basketball players. So just naturally, his stories and anecdotes are rooted in basketball. I'm a sports fan. I love the NBA. I'm so excited that it's coming back July 30th. Whoop, whoop. Even though it's going to be, you know, bubble edition, but I'm so excited for it. So I would say that I would give that as a caution, but I wouldn't deter you from it if you're not the biggest sports fan, NBA fan, basketball fan, because there still are key tidbits in here that we can all learn from. One being the following. This is towards the end of the book, very end of the book, on page 231. It just really spoke to me. I thought I'd share it with you guys. So it's the second to last paragraph on 231, reads as follows. Every dream you imagine, everything you see and hear and feel in your sleep, that's not a fantasy. That's your deep instinct telling you it can all be real. Follow those visions and dreams and desires and believe what you know. Only you can turn those dreams into reality. Never stop until you do. And I was like, heard you, Grove. Heard you, Tim. I got you. That's all I got for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I am Cindy Love. Mwah! So wherever you are in the world where you're watching this, be sure to share this with someone you think would benefit from this book, or someone you'd like to read this book along with and go on this journey with, of being relentless and tapping into your inner greatness, your inner excellence. I will see you guys next Wednesday. Bye!